Hi, Misha here.
And this is Jake.
And we just finished up a day of shooting, which we'll do some videos from. We're back from vacation, and this is the weekend after SHOT Show.
Yep.
And since we've been shooting all day, this isn't really planned or rehearsed, and neither of us have been paying super close attention to the SHOT Show news. But, you know, you pick up things.
Yeah, I mean, realistically, in years past, the pattern for SHOT Show that we've mostly seen is someone has a new series of striker-fired safe-action handguns in 9mm. Someone else has probably made an AR and a caliber that is the hot new thing for the internet for that particular month. And Beretta has some $75,000 over and unders that they would like to sell you. So we generally we don't, other than, passing disdain for SHOT Show, we generally don't pay that much attention to it.
You forgot one important one.
What's that?
Striker-fired pistols. It seems like the last couple of years that was people were really, this is our next striker-fire, like the IWI Masada.
I think I very specifically mentioned that.
Did you?
Yes.
Okay.
So this is already going.
This is great. Sorry, I got distracted. There was a weird smell. The heater came on. I'm like, what's that smell? Welcome to being blind, guys. Smells.
That tells you anything about how exciting SHOT Show normally is. Mm-hmm. Misha got so bored while I was describing past SHOT Shows that he completely didn't hear anything.
I got distracted by a funky smell from the heater. I'm not going to lie.
Which is more interesting than most past SHOT Shows have been.
The last one or two have really been. In the past, they used to be pretty fun, but it's gotten so big. Mm-hmm. There's no time for anything intimate. And for another, a lot of times the people manning the booths, I'm sure they're great people, but they're basically hired actors or PR people that are working straight from a script, and they don't really know a whole lot more than is on that piece of paper.
Yeah, that's fair. But this year has been a little bit different. There has been some things that have caught our attention. So what we kind of thought we might do is go through...
what is that smell?
All of that smell is all your smelling noises are going to be on camera.
I know. It's driving me crazy.
I don't know. There's something your trash stinks to over here.
There we go.
But it seemed like
we had fish last night.
Great. And I'm sitting by the trash can.
It just occurred to me.
But there's with all the AK crap that's been going on in SHOT Show this year, we thought it might be good to sit and kind of go through some of the things that we found more interesting.
Yeah.
And maybe even are excited about, which is kind of a strange thing to say for us.
And there's definitely there's a couple that I'm really intrigued by and hopeful about, and there's one that I'm just really truly excited about. In fact, when I was first told about it, my exact quote to the vendor was, "Sign me the fuck up." Yep.
And of course, what I'm sure everyone has already guessed this if you've been paying any attention to Misha's personal channel, but obviously that thing that we're really excited about is that the Chris Vector is finally coming out in a .22 caliber carbine.
Right, yeah, because for one, the .22 is so much cheaper than 9mm, and for another, it's just the no recoil. It's just so great, because that's what people think, 9mm is great, but it's so heavy recoiling, and .22 is great, but it still recoils. But if we put it in the Chris Vector system...
Yes, then it'll be...
And wouldn't it be great if it were 40 inches long, too?
Right. Yeah, so... that's pretty much the only thing we really wanted to talk about in this video.
Yeah, we don't care about AKs.
No.
No, this really seemed like this was kind of the year of AK, and I think the last year, what I've noticed in the industry, if you have something different, people want to buy. But last year, 2019, even 2018, it was mostly same old, same old.
Sure.
Maybe an AR with a new rail or a new Glock variant or whatever, but people want to buy, but and the AK has become more and more popular, which is funny because the AR is the one that's really dove in price, but the AK has gone up and still people are paying attention to it.
Right.
So, this seemed like this was the year of the AK.
Yeah, which is awesome. I mean, we are AK fans. I will say that for us, a lot of the announcements around, which we'll get into some more specifics, but a lot of the announcements around like the US made stuff is somewhat less interesting, only because for the most part, between the two of us, we have pretty much the original import variants that those are being based on. So, which I guess we can just get right into it.
We can just talk about what was there and why the 4 AKs out of my collection I threw on the table. Yep. Obviously, we don't have examples from SHOT Show.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I think, what do you want to start with? PSA, maybe?
Sure. I mean, it seems like PSA, and this is interesting. In the past, you had, even Colt to some extent, but, Smith & Wesson, Springfield, Ruger, whoever were the big players at the show. But it seems like this year PSA really came on heavy with a ton of stuff.
Right. Yeah, they have definitely taken the success that they've seen, at least from the outside looking in. It seems like they've been pretty successful with making, with their AK series that
they're on to their fourth generation now. And again, I'll be honest, their first couple of AK gens had some issues, but what I think has really propelled them ahead is their willingness to discuss with the community, post on forums, answer the phone.
Sure.
They have a reputation for good customer service.
Yep.
And I think they don't come across as know-it-alls. Hey, you say this trunnion is wrong. Okay, we'll do it differently.
Right.
They seem willing to change, adapt, and take advice.
It's a very different attitude to criticism and to product development, frankly, than something like Pioneer Arms or an IO Inc. or something along those lines, or even, I think, to a certain extent, Century. Because, really throwing that support behind it and fixing the stuff and taking care of people, at least, again, from the outside looking in, I have no experience with this firsthand, I think has given them a good, solid reputation that has given them a good customer base and a pretty strong vocal following online, and then has given them probably some leeway to get more into other designs beyond their base AKM that they've been doing.
And I'll also say this, price point.
Yes, very competitive price point.
Yep. I noticed with some of their newer stuff, like, what is it, they call it the PSA 103, what's their name for their AK 103, but it's higher than their base GF guns. I mean, it starts out at 700 and climbs to 900 depending on which version. But that's still a lot cheaper than an import or the competition from a few others. But still, $100 here and there does help. So I think they get a lot of credibility from people who's looking to save a buck, but still get something decent.
Right. Yep.
But they've had a huge product line. Obviously, they're expanding their AKs. They're doing the AK 103. They aren't they doing a Chinese Spiker clone?
There is a Spiker clone.
That seems.
But I don't know how. The only thing that I don't know is, and comes back to me not looking too deep into a lot of these announcements, is I don't know how close of a clone it is. I don't know if it's just an AKM with a Spiker thrown onto it or what exactly. So
and this isn't anything against them. I don't expect PSA to get anywhere close to a 1-to-1 clone. If you look at their 9mm AK versus a Vitiaz, it's a 9mm AK. It's pretty decent, but I don't expect to see really close clones from PSA.
Sure.
More of the broad strokes.
Yeah. Yeah, pastiche.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll have a folding spike bayonet, and if they're good, they'll do it on a 1.5 stamped receiver and have the AK-47 heavier profile barrel.
Yeah.
And for most people, for the price point, that'll be fine.
Right, sure. Yeah, so we're pulling for them to be successful. Again, I think it doesn't do the community good. We've mentioned this before, to just crap on other companies that are trying new things or to trying to innovate, because ultimately, at the end of the day, if these U.S. manufacturers, and again, we'll mention a few others, succeed in making these guns consistent and reliable and good quality and have good customer service, then It just benefits the customer base in general. I'd say if we had any concerns about PSA, and this goes beyond just the AK stuff, but into the MP5 and all that they're doing, is I think we're both a little bit concerned about them getting overextended, because most companies, PSA is no exception, will have teething issues when they come out with a new product line. And they're coming out with a lot of products.
It's one thing to break into, say, a 545 AK, which they're going to do, or a 556 AK.
Which they're going to do with a Stanag Magwell.
Right. That's still based on what they've been working with. They can use a lot of the same basic forgings, tooling, but if you're going to do a MP5 clone, or if you're going to do a Glock clone, which is the one that really scratches my head, that's totally different from what they've done. Now, to be fair, they jumped from making ARs to AKs.
Yeah.
So, not saying, but it's a lot on their plate for 2020.
Yeah. Yeah, and not all that stuff's going to come out all at once, but what I don't want to see happen, and again, this doesn't really impact me that much because I'm probably not going to buy their offerings because I already have import versions of that, but just from an outsider looking in, someone who's interested in that, these guns specifically and want to see them succeed, my concern would be that people will be getting basically a beta test version of whatever they're rolling out and end up having to do the QA for them. Just because of the amount of stuff that they're bringing out, something somewhere is more than likely going to have teething issues, and that they're going to have bugs and things that they're going to work out. Now, if they stick with it and their customer services has been as good as it's purported to be, then that isn't going to be much of an issue for long. But it's also something that could go wrong for them.
Kind of reminds me a little bit, and I'm not saying they're on this level, but a little bit of a Kel-Tec scenario too, where they have so many products but they only can make a few of each one each year, and then they get ahead of themselves, and QC things slip through the cracks. Mm-hmm. But we will have one of the PSA 103s to try out here.
Yeah.
So we'll see how it does.
Yeah. So more power to them. Hopefully it all works out well. One of the things that they're doing is an AK-74, which Century is also doing an AK-74.
Are they doing that are they calling it an RAS-74, or are they calling it a Visca? Which name?
I don't think that they announced either of the naming conventions. It wasn't mentioned in any of the product reviews or the previews that I watched. So it would be kind of funny if it was a RAS-74 or something like that.
Well, the thing is, they've done 74 builds. There was the Tantal, which, they had the barrel issue early on, but actually they were pretty decent builds. But still, U.S. barrel, U.S. receiver. They did the M74, which was built from a Bulgarian kit, but again, U.S. barrel, U.S. receiver. So they do have experience with that under their belt.
Sure.
And if they've got their trunnion and bolt issues done, okay, it's fine. I mean, but who knows? Century was really quiet in 2019, at least since the beginning of the year in the Visca fiasco. You notice they kind of backpedaled a bit, and they emphasized more their PSLs or their AES 10Bs, and I think they were regrouping.
Yep. Yeah, I think that's a good guess on what was going on over there.
Yeah. And they seem interested in doing a 5.56 as well.
Yep. Yeah, and one thing that's kind of interesting, for one, it's cool that there are companies that are investing in the AK-74 again. It's cool that people are making those rifles again and that they're going to be available for people to buy. I love the AK-74 platform. I have a couple of 104s SLR and from Arsenal, and they're great. They're great guns. They're great shooters, and I have a Tantal. But still, the heart of the issue with the AK-74 and its popularity is still going to be the ammo, I think.
Ammo, magazines, and spare parts in that order. Because I've had more than a few customers over the years say they're getting out of 545 or the AK-74 because they're tired of carrying 2 mags, 2 calibers, or they're worried about spare parts. Mm-hmm. A lot of people like to consolidate and just have one thing. Yeah. And the ammo variety is nothing like 5.56. There's only a handful of ammo types in 5.45.
And manufacturers, for that matter.
And most all of them are imports, and even the ones that are put together here in the USA still use some foreign components.
Right. Yeah, so I mean, we've already seen 7 and 6, and all that happened with import ban, and I'm wondering, too, if if something were to ever happen, hopefully not, but if something were to happen and sanctions came down on Russian ammunition manufacturers, Russia is pretty much the 5.45 user right now. Like, there's not really...
Poland's out, Bulgaria's out.
Yep.
Romania still uses it, so they might be able to supply.
Sure.
But that's really it, unless someone specifically tools up.
Have to see probably domestic manufacturing pickup on 5.45 for that to never be a problem. And so I'd be curious to see, this is kind of a put up or shut up moment, I think, for the AK-74, because people already tried bringing in 5.45 guns before, and they weren't super popular because of the ammo. And nothing has changed with that other than the surplus has dried up. So
not just ammo, but mags, too.
Ammo and mags, right, correct.
Yeah, mags have really gotten pretty pricey.
Yeah, so I'm curious to see, there's a lot of people that are just screaming out on the internet right now, wanting another AK-74, and there are companies now that are attempting to meet that demand, that very vocal demand. But I'm curious to see if history repeats itself as far as...
Kind of reminds me of the 300 blackout wave a few years ago, when everyone, I'll buy it if it's in 300 blackout.
Yeah.
Will you? I mean, and that's fine if you... I mean, I don't need any new 74s, but I haven't sold any of mine. I still have whatever half dozen that I've had for years, and I still enjoy shooting them.
Yeah.
But
I would love for nothing more for the AK-74 to be, second only in popularity to the AKM. But I have my doubts on how well all of these people on the internet saying that they would buy an AK-74 actually going through with it and buying one of these domestic-made AK-74s.
Now, for the ones who were too young to do it back when, I get, but a lot of them passed up very good guns like the SLR 104 FR and even the SGL 31 for years.
Sure.
I had to twist people's arms to buy 104 FRs at $9.99.
Even Tantals. I mean, Tantals and the Wasser 3?
Wasser 2.
Wasser 2.
Yeah, that's another thing. Century, they imported the Wasser 10, 7.6239, Wasser 2, 5.4539, Wasser 3, 5.56. The Wasser 10, 7.6239, outsold the other two like 20-1 or more.
Yeah.
And I was actually just talking with a major importer a couple of weeks ago, and he said even today people ask about 5.45 stuff, but when it comes to actually selling kits, barrels, whatever, it is hugely in favor of people actually putting their credit cards down wanting the 7.62 by 39.
Yeah. Yeah, and Rob Ski even mentioned that in one of, I forget if it was the Century video. I think it was the Century video for SHOT Show 2020, as he said it's a dog chasing its own tail as far as people don't buy them because of ammo availability and magazine availability, and then manufacturers don't make them because nobody's buying them because of ammo availability. So it's like they have to make the guns to make the ammo, but then nobody will buy the guns because they can't get the ammo. And
the guns have been on the market in the past for years at decent prices, and they sold, but they sold very slowly.
Right. And I read someone's comments on some of the other videos saying you can very easily get AK-74 ammo. I mean, yeah, you can easily go online and go to any one of dozens of places and buy in bulk AK-74 ammo. But a lot of people, I can tell you right now that I can't go to most any sporting goods store locally in a very gun-friendly culture and go buy 5.45. Like there's just nobody around here really that carries it to any specific large numbers because nobody really buys it.
I mean, yeah, if you live in a house and have storage and buy a couple of cases now and again, but if you live in an apartment or whatever with friends and you just wake up on a Saturday morning, hey, I want to go shoot an AK-74, so you want to buy ammo in town, just, 100 rounds for that day, good luck unless you happen to live in a special place.
You're going to have to purchase that stuff online in quantity to make it worth it, or it's going to be really expensive. And even then, like I think Cabela's is the only place I've been able to find it locally. And even then, the last time I bought it, I think it was like $10 for a box of 30 or something. It's just in that steel case with their Monarch brand, or I think that was Academy, right? Not Cabela's, it was Academy. So it's just not.
It's funny because AK-74's 5.45 had their day back in 2009 and the 2010, right after the first Obama election, because you couldn't get 5.56 easily. And at the same time, 5.45 was cheap, 10 cents a round. So you saw manufacturers like Smith & Wesson making AR-15s in it. But the main driving force behind a lot of those people was the price.
Right.
The guns were cheap enough, the mags and the ammo were really cheap, and you couldn't get the AR alternatives.
Yeah.
We'll see. Who knows the future, but yeah, basically what we're seeing as far as the AK-74 potentiality is U.S. made.
Yep.
The only import seems to be Arsenal, and they're not importing the SLR-104. They're doing a gun from ISD, which is getting into that company, and I'm not saying they're a bad company, I'm just saying there's a history there that is interesting. But these guns will be built by someone else, and we don't know right now from what parts. So kind of just have to, instead of speculating, so there will be an import, but it won't be brand new Arsenal Circle 10 builds. It'll be something else.
Sure. Yeah, so again, I hope we don't seem like we're coming down negatively on these guys that are wanting to get into the AK-74 for domestic production, because I don't think either of us are, especially. For us, it's more, I think, of a marketability concern, because it feels like these were lessons that were learned already years ago. And if they can turn it around, if that PSA can turn it around with a $700 US made AK-74, and they suddenly become super popular, and we start getting a lot of ammo options, and we can walk into a local sporting goods shop and buy a couple boxes of ammo. Like that's hopefully, I hope that works out. I hope it goes that way. I have my suspicions it's not going to, but again, we'll see.
Well, and that's not even talking about quality. Like we talked about it earlier. Right. Can Century deliver a good quality gun? That delivers acceptable accuracy, longevity, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, that was a thing. Speaking of Arsenal imports, there is the AK-20, and my only question to you is, did you order 2 or 3 for yourself?
On the AK-20?
Yeah.
I ordered 20, because it's 2020. 20,
oh, okay.
20 AK-20 in 2020.
Yeah. You're going to customize them all, right?
Right. They're all going to be, I'm going to do a retro one. I'm going to put old wood handguards and furniture on it.
Why not? Should just make handguards out of tinfoil.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah. Arsenal's big hype on that is, I don't feel like getting it, but whatever. If it's your cup of tea, cool beans. It's not a military clone. Yeah, I guess technically it's a modernized AK, but it's not a combat level. One reason I brought the SAM 7SF out, I will say in all sincerity, I do really like this gun, but this is about as modern as I'm keen to see in Arsenal. Polymer furniture, Galil style safety, side folding stock. Threaded barrel, fine, but it's also a military type gun. I just don't know. It seems to me that the AK-20 is kind of them putting the parts that they have together, kind of a kit bash, They had some leftover milled receivers, which we know they did. They had leftover barrels. It seems like something they just kind of dreamt up. Maybe it was fun. I mean, I don't know, but it doesn't speak to me. And then the price point of $2,000 to $3,000 is...
Yeah. Nah, I don't think that's it.
I like milled arsenals. I definitely think when it comes to arsenals, the milled guns are where it's at over the stamped. And they are saying that the SAM 7SF's a fresh batch is due in late winters, early spring, March, April. The only question there is these haven't been fresh imported since 2013-14. What will they cost in 2020?
Right. Yeah.
That's so be prepared for maybe a little bit of sticker shock.
Yep.
Because they're not going to be 1,300-ish anymore.
Right.
But they are really good guns.
Yep. The kind of speaking of 223 AKs, which we weren't, but there's quite a few. That wasn't a good segue. There's quite a few manufacturers that are jumping in. Seems like into the 223 AK market as well.
Which I think is much more legit than 545, but that's total personal opinion.
Yes. And it's kind of funny because on the KUSA, not to jump ahead, but the KUSA...
Well, we brought up this to represent them, so might as well.
The KUSA announcement was around a new 7.62x39 rifle and then a 223 rifle to follow at some point in the future. And Zastava is also doing a 223, the M82.
The M85 is the pistol, M85. And probably the M90 or M95 will be the rifle.
Okay. And then Palmetto State Armory is also doing a 223 that uses Stanek mags.
Right.
So that was one of the things that we discussed earlier is magazines for 223s.
Yeah, and I will say, the Kalashnikov USA, our thoughts on the KR9 are very public, so no reason to restate it here. But that is a very, if not a 1-to-1, 100% clone of a Vitiaz or a Sega 9, it's a 95% clone.
Yeah.
And it looks to be that their AK-103, called a KR-103, will be that for the AK-103. That will be first a fixed or a folder in 7.6239. Then they're talking about doing an AK-101 clone, which is the same gun in 5.56.
Yep.
And then they're also talking about doing carbines, which would be AK-102 for the 5.56 and AK-104 for the 7.6239.
And one thing that they did say that they told Rob Ski is that it would be standard 223 AK magazines, which I assume at that point is going to be something along the lines of the Saiga mags.
Yeah.
Which should also be compatible with the WBP, the FB Radom Archer mags.
Well, actually, funnily enough, we'll get into this in a bit. WBP is making those mags now.
Oh, okay. There you go.
But yeah, basically, and one of our Patreon requests that we're working on was about the whole 5.56 mag thing, so I don't want to bust that here. But the problem is with the AK-47, AKM, AK-74, everyone started from a baseline, what Russia did.
Right.
By the 1980s and 90s, these companies, these countries that had licenses, factories to make AKs, were doing their own thing. And so when they decided to turn to 223, they had different ideas and they had different tech levels. For example, Zastava in Yugoslavia, now Serbia, never made an AK-74, never made a 5.45. So when they did their 5.56, they started with their M70, the 7.62x39 as a base. When Poland made their 5.56, like the Archer here on the, where is it? Here. Yeah. They started with their Tanto, which was of course, AK-74 loose base. Russia did the same. They started with their AK-74, making the AK-101. And Bulgaria did the same. They started with their AK-74. So basically, Russia, Poland, and Bulgaria, while they did a little bit of their own thing, they all based their 5.56 guns on the AK-74. Therefore, if their mags are very similar and usually interchangeable. Whereas other countries like Valmet in Finland, IMI, IWI in Israel, Norinco and Polytech in China, they all made different 5.56 mags because they were basing their guns on different things. So that's why there's AKM mags, there's AK-74 mags, and then there's like half a dozen different 5.56 mags.
I noticed that the Zastava mag looked a lot like a Galil mag, but they are not the same mag.
No, they're not, and they have a metal and a plastic. In Romania, they use a copy of the German Uyghur mag. which is kind of its own thing too. Yeah, and that's always hurt the 5.56 is, do you really want a ton of different mags? Right. So the most there is a standard is the Russian/Bulgarian/Polish pattern.
Yep.
They're about the most universal you're going to get. Everyone else is almost a one-off.
Right. Including
the Zastava, which I'm okay with because the alternative is like that Century gun that has that ugly-ass magwell.
Mm-hmm. Blah. Well, that's, and PSA with theirs is using AR mags, which, I mean, if they can make that work...
I'm better about that because at least the PSA gun was designed for that.
Yeah,
the Century imported Zastavas in 223 were just retrofitted to take AR mags, which just never works.
So if they can make that work, then I could see that working out for them because that's at least one other, commonality issue that you wouldn't have to worry about because everybody's got AR mags.
Sure.
And then even, I think KUSA's approach of keeping everything as close to Russian as possible, I mean, those magazines are available, they're out there.
And they're going to make mags,
too. And they're going to make them, so...
Arms of America imports the Beryl mags for reasonable money, so that's an option.
Yeah. So I think that's the way to go with those. And we'll see if people want 223 AKs because they've historically also wanted 7.62 by 39. But
honestly, that would be the one I would be most apt because I don't own a ton. I do have an arsenal. I do have this Archer here, but I wouldn't mind a Yugo pattern. A Zastava.
Yeah, sure.
223. And I wouldn't mind a Russian pattern.
I wouldn't mind having a Russian pattern either.
So probably, those would be the most interesting to me, would be a Zastava 223 or maybe, one of the Kalashnikov USA, maybe carbines, but like a AK-102 would be kind of neat.
Yeah. So hopefully KUSA as well. They haven't had a full rifle caliber out yet.
Nope.
They've done shotguns. They've done the KP and the KR9 9mm. And their adherence so far, at least with the KP and the KR, has been really, really close to original Russian pattern. And again, they're saying for the 103 around $1,000 price point, which I think is perfectly reasonable in this day and age. So if they can continue to produce that.
And look at the KRKP9. It started off around 12, and then now it's dipped below 1,000. Right. So before someone ats him, yes, I do know that the Kalashnikov USA guns have button rifle barrels. Now they are chrome lined, but no, they are not cold hammer forged. Reasons really just that's how most American barrels are made. There aren't that many cold hammer forge facilities in America. FN USA is probably the biggest, but then again, people have been complaining about their barrels now and again, like in the AUG, whatever, it doesn't matter. The thing about cold hammer forging, it's a very expensive process to set up, and once you have it paid for, it can make barrels very cheaply. In fact, the whole process dates back to World War II Germany, where they were trying to make barrels cheaper and faster. It just so happens they ended up making damn durable barrels, and that's the benefit of a cold hammer forged barrel is the durability. But like American military spec for the M4 is button rifle chrome lined. So they are that, at least. I get it. I know cold hammer forged AKs go together like peanut butter and bananas. But on the other hand, at least Kalashnikov is saying that their bolt carrier trunnion are either forged or machined, not cast. So you win, you lose. But I'd say I would much rather have a forged trunnion over a hammer forged barrel, and it is chrome lined. That's chrome lining is the most important bit for me there. And they said the gas system is fully chromed too, which is positive.
So I think even if they end up coming in higher price than like the PSAs, they're still going to find their niche in the market if they stick with very close to original Russian pattern AKs,
which they say they are, but
AKs. Yeah.
I mean, like I brought this Sega out. This is a pre-ban import. By the way, they said in the video that they are going to be doing wood furniture too, which is kind of spiffy.
Yeah. So we'll see.
Yeah, but they said they're using the fonts and stuff. They seem like they were really detail oriented. And looking at our KR9s, I believe it.
Yep.
If full MSRP is $1,050, that means retail probably start off at $999, maybe $950 on sale. Keep in mind the Palmetto State fixed stalker starts out at $700, but if you want a forged trunnion, it goes to $800. So they're not that much higher, but it is more. On the other hand, Arsenal just released another batch of SLR 107Rs, the stamped guns, on their website, retail price, not MSRP, $1,099. So both of them are now cheaper than Arsenal's basic stamped offering.
Yep.
So, yeah, we are living in a time when I think I just recommended a PSA over an Arsenal. I have now transferred to Bizarro World. But there it is.
Yeah. What else? There were some more interesting commercial offerings, like there was a pistol that caught my eye. It's designed by the same, I think it's Laugo is the name of the company, and the model is Alien, and it is a 9mm pistol, but it's designed by the same guy who did the CZ Evo Scorpion Evo 3. And it has very similar lines. If you haven't checked this thing out, go look at it, because I think it's really cool looking. I can see the look being very divisive. And what's interesting about it is the internals are Fromer stop, basically, internals, which allows it to get a very low bore axis. And I was sold on that gun as soon as I saw it, and then I scrolled down and saw that they want $5,000 for it, and which immediately put it out for me. So, but I thought it was kind of cool looking. A neat
to be fair, that is the special edition.
Yep. So we'll see what happens when the production version comes out.
I doubt the production is that much cheaper. Yep. But yeah.
Interestingly, Ruger is coming out with a 5.7 pistol, which is going to be about half the price of the FN57. So that interests me personally because I have a PS90.
Yeah.
And it'd be kind of nice to have another gun in that caliber.
Yeah, I don't know. FN's prices have been going up, and that the 5.7 pistol in particular has hit ridiculous levels in years, whereas the PS90 has actually come down, at least at times. So yeah, good on Ruger. I was an early buyer of that caliber around 2006. It's a fun little caliber. It's like an angry 22, but it's fun.
Yeah, it's like shooting a small 7.62 by 25.
Or just like a short 223.
Yeah, there you
go. I like it. It's a cool looking caliber, very lightweight. You can carry a lot of ammo very lightly.
Right.
But it's not wimpy.
Yep. Yeah, and the thing that's put me off on the 5.7 is they're 1,200-ish?
Something. They're not super easy to get on top of that.
Right. And they just don't feel like a more than $1,000 gun.
No.
It's kind of, they're very plasticky. Really reminds me of my Kel-Tec PMR 30 that I think it paid $300.
Better plastic, but yeah, same basic. It is a very plastic gun nevertheless.
Yeah. So that could be kind of neat. Yeah. Give somebody another option if they're interested in 5.7.
Well, it keeps the caliber alive.
Sure.
We went back to 5.45 very briefly. I think maybe the best hope for it will be kind of hanging on in the fringes as 5.7 has done. It's hung on there pretty well.
Yeah.
But it's not mainstream, but it hasn't died out either.
Well, maybe it'll become mainstream. Maybe Ruger and Palmetto State Armory and Century will make 5.7 and 5.45.
One of those three does not belong.
Let's see. What have we not talked about yet?
Well, there's the Brownells offering.
Yep.
They're doing their BRN 180 now with the kind of a more traditional style lower. Mm-hmm. They're still continuing their retro line. I don't really know of any super duper specific, but to be fair, last year and the year before they hit it pretty hard. So I think this year they're just cleaning things up, and they're doing a lot more on the parts front, which is cool for builders. So happy to see them continue their retro line.
I know one that we missed. This is one that we were both really excited about. The one thing that has kept me from buying a SCAR, an FN SCAR, the one thing is that it is not in 6.5 Creedmoor.
Oh, yeah.
So now you can get a SCAR in 6.5 Creedmoor, you will be able to. And I'm sure that they won't be any less than about $3,000 or $3,200.
Oh, they'll be more than that.
But the nice thing is it's finally in a caliber that I want, 6.5 Creedmoor, and I can ditch this 308 223 nonsense and finally put my my money to good use. So that's a thing.
I think one reason the SCAR is just kind of mostly hasn't been changing, especially the design, is because the military basically abandoned it. They bought a few and then that's it. And so FN has kind of lost its incentive to keep developing it. But what hasn't, CZ with the Bren 2, which we've done several videos on, that's kind of the opposite thing. The Czech military adopted the 805 Bren.
Yep.
Suggested some improvements, led to the Bren 2, which is a great facelift. I'm not going to say it is universally better than the 805, but I would say weighing pros and cons of both, the Bren 2 is better.
Mm-hmm.
And last year we saw the pistol.
Yep.
And now they're showing that the 16-inch carbine should be out sometime this year.
Yeah, and I had a little bit of trepidation when I heard of the changes that they were making. I'm still glad that you and I both have the original release, which is closer to the military version. But I personally think that the commercial version that they've come out with it looks pretty good. I think.
Yeah, it's not bad. I think they have cleaned up the trigger a little bit on it. I think, of course, you got the more modular front rail system going on, but yeah, basically it's not as many. I think maybe they were going to do more changes and then customer feedback had them scale it back.
Yeah.
But
yeah, so that's and they're priced right as well. They're not.
It's a little difficult in this market only because ARs are so cheap, but for what that is, a unique foreign import gun. The reason guns like the 805 got down to as low as $1,000 and for the pistol and $1,200 for the carbine, those are blowout deals. Those weren't regular, hey, we're making money. That was, we want these out the warehouse deals.
Yeah.
You know, when a company's making money, that you want that to happen because that means the product line continues.
Yeah. But the 2MS isn't it like around 1,600?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, which is, I mean, I think ours.
That's what I'm saying. For a
19.
You know, for relatively, making money price, that's fine.
Yeah, I think it's
It's just
fine.
What people will say is, well, I can get 2 ARs for that.
Sure.
You're absolutely right.
And get ARs.
Yeah, I'm just saying that's going to be its only. But I think in other times, back when ARs were higher and stuff, people wouldn't have noticed as much. It's just the market's a little depressed on the AR front. But there's a lot of us that are just, we got ARs, that's fine. We want something different. And that is not only different, but it's different and quality.
Yep. Yeah, the Bren 2 for me is a go-to gun, and I think that they're incredible personally. So I'm glad that a lot of other people are now going to be able to get their hands on them.
Yep.
So
and carbines for those in states where pistols aren't practical.
Yep.
And hopefully we'll see like stocks and parts and things available as well.
Yep.
I'd like to see additional barrels because of how easy the barrel comes out. Even maybe conversion kits. I know that's kind of a bit of a meme, but I'd buy a 7.6239 conversion kit.
Sure.
Why not?
Yeah.
Did you see much from IWI?
I was just thinking that. Yeah, I didn't.
I mean, the last few SHOT Shows, they've been trying to really wow people, and this year it seemed quiet.
Yeah, no, I didn't see anything. There could be something that I missed. Feel free to comment if you have picked up some stuff from IWI that I didn't see. But no, I think it seems like they're kind of head down on their current selection. So
didn't hear much from Steyr. No real AUG news. I was hoping there might be some new AUG because AUGs have been quiet for a couple of years too. And of course, the Australian Lithgow Atrax is dead.
Yeah.
Pause. Sorry guys, 1 sec. Sorry about that, visitor. So we need a remote. Just push the button.
Yeah, that'd be nice for me.
But yeah, we're
get exercise.
Pretty close to the end. One other thing to point out, Colt's Python thing. Honestly, at this point, it feels just kind of like kicking a puppy. I honestly feel sorry for them, but their quote unquote Python did not shape up so great at the show. So I had to mention that. The whole Colt stuff last year, we've done a couple of videos on them. They are shipping M4s again. So they're saying that they were just going hiatus and would return in a couple of months is true. At least they did ship a batch this January. But who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows?
Colt is what it is.
Colt is what it is. It'd be weird if it was otherwise, I guess, at this point.
Right. Yeah, and I think the last thing that we have not really talked about yet at all that we're both actually legitimately excited for.
Yep.
Is an announcement from Arms of America.
Yep, and that's the one I was saying at the beginning when I heard about it. I said, sign me the fuck up. That would be the Mini Beryl.
Yep.
Now, there's a little bit of confusion. No, Radom USA is not on again. Radom USA actually dissolved as a corporation years ago. They're gone. This is Arms of America doing the imports, the same people that have imported the WBP Lynx pistol and WBP Fox rifle, not to mention their parts kits.
Yep, the mini jack and all that.
It's also being supported by Atlantic Firearms, who's a major distributor. They're not the importer, but they do a lot of conversion work and customizing work. So you've got two legitimate companies behind it. ATF approval is done. Like, this isn't like, oh, we're waiting. No, these are approved. They're good. There's just a little bit of paperwork to be done, get a manufacturing contract signed, get an ETA. But barring something huge like American law changing or Poland falling into civil war, there's no reason that the Mini Beryl should not happen. And this will be the first true FB, formerly Circle 11, at least as far as that goes. Radom. This is not a Pioneer Arms, and this is not a WBP. This is an FB, just like the Archer here. And until this point, this was the only true FBAK to get imported to the USA. A 700 were brought over by IO back in 2012 to 14, and that's it. So this is something pretty big, and it's the first time the Mini Beryl has ever been imported.
Yeah. And this is not going to be a thing where like they're going to have to be doing they're going to have to be milling out mag welds and all that stuff like with the Archer. This is going to be a true one-to-one import.
Yep, it's just like with the Swiss guns that JDI and Sen Imports brings in. Basically, no full auto and no buttstock.
Yep.
Instead of a buttstock, it'll have a sling swivel in the back, so you can attach an arm brace. It'll have the Mini Beryl's 9 1/4 barrel. It appears to be threaded. It has the expansion chamber and muzzle brake. It will accept the Beryl style rail. Now, since it doesn't have a buttstock, it won't have the mounting point in the back, so it'll just use the front mount, which they make a short rail for that specifically for the Mini Beryl. It'll just have standard Mini Beryl plastic handguards, but you can put a Mini Beryl rail handguard on it. It'll take, standard mags like we were talking about earlier in the 5.56 game. They basically will take Arsenal mags, Russian mags, so presumably also Kalashnikov USA mags will work.
Yep.
And only parts, serial matching, military grade gun. Over 100,000 have been used in Poland, including tens of thousands of the Mini Beryl. It's basically their crink. So this isn't some cut down weirdness for the American market. This is, and they're starting off doing a pistol because it's a lot easier and frankly cheaper to do a pistol than a rifle because of our laws. Yeah, exactly. I mean, a rifle is possible, but it's more time, money, and effort.
Right.
So we can't really talk about what they might do in the future. We can say that they're doing the Mini Beryl this year, and it should be here in summer, second half of the year, summer, fall. I mean, hard to say with imports, but...
Have they said anything about pricing on that?
They have said that the MSRP is about $11.50. So, considering that people have been paying over $2,000 for used Archers, and of course, if MSRP is $11.50, you can hope to see retail probably just a little over $1,000, which is not cheap, but considering what Archers are going for and other Polish guns have always brought a little more money.
Yeah. I was legitimately expecting to see or to hear that these were going to be closer to 2,000.
Yeah, I thought at least 15, 16 at least. Yeah, and again, because archers are bringing what they're bringing. Luckily, I guess these are coming in after the archer craze has died, because it seems like this year archers are down to 2 to 2,500. A couple of years ago, people were going just crazy with them.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, that's something super cool, and we're not going to talk a lot about it here because it's going to get its own video.
Yep. Yeah, so that's really, that for both of us personally, were the thing that we were most excited about with all this AK announcement. It's crazy to see this big resurgence in AKs all at once from all these different
companies. And funny enough, 5.56 as well. They're bringing over 5.56 parts kits from WBP, and Atlantic, and Arms of America will be selling them as kits, and Atlantic will be building them into 5.56 Polish rifles.
Okay, so we'll have WBP 5.56 guns?
We'll have WBP 5.56, FB 5.56, Kalashnikov USA 5.56, PSA 5.56, Century 5.56, Zastava 5.56.
Yeah, a lot of 5.56 options.
But the good thing is, with that much competition, the cream should rise to the top.
Right.
Like, the best one should really just punt out any lesser.
And then also help with pricing.
Yeah.
Like, if it's not going to be like one company, Century, like gouging because they have the sole monopoly on whatever caliber Kalashnikov. So that'll be good, because they'll, like, a KUSA can't come out and put out a $1,500 gun and expect to sell it when there are so many other options out there.
Right. So, and Arsenal can't pull their shenanigans, hopefully, and get. Hopefully. Yeah. It seems like it's going to be interesting. It's a lot of AKs being promised, especially in 5.56 and 5.45. It'll be interesting to see at the end of this year how many have come out and in what numbers.
Yep.
Because the problem with SHOT Show, and this is just to end with, not everything you see at SHOT Show ends up coming to market.
Right.
So you have to take everything with a grain of salt.
Yep. Yeah. The next video that we're going to do is going to be on the HMG STG-44.
Yeah. It is a beautiful paper mache gun.
So yeah, a lot of stuff that can come out.
Yeah, so you have to be mindful of that. Yep. But
a lot of the stuff seems imminent, though.
Yeah, the thing is, these are from companies that haven't been teasers. Kalashnikov USA delivered last year. PSA has been good. Arms of America has delivered.
Yep.
So the companies we're seeing talk, and love them or hate them, Century has been a pretty good deliverer. There aren't many Century products that were shown that haven't just come out at all.
Yep.
So.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird that the big kind of vapor culprits were really pretty quiet at this SHOT Show.
Yeah.
So maybe it'll give chance for some new companies to come up and get a good market share.
Yep. Hopefully so.
So yeah, guys, I think that we're good here. That's our informal talk about our thoughts on SHOT Show and what's kind of happening in the AK world. I guess there were some ARs at SHOT Show too, but who cares?
Yeah.
Yeah, sincerely, these ARs are just, But what did you see that excited you? Any thoughts, hopes, anything that disappointed you? We have a nice conversation below. We're back from vacation, so we'll start working on fresh tint for you all.
Yep. Can I pitch that tint?
Yep.
So.
Phrasing.
Right. Yeah, that's been an issue today.
Yeah, it really has. Not with us.
No. Yeah.
No. Third parties.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, we appreciate it. As always, if you'd like to help support the channel, please check out the link in the description to our Patreon page.
Yep, and be sure to subscribe to us if you haven't already. If you're new to the channel, we do a lot of gun stuff. We do some knife and sword stuff too. So
models occasionally, and I have my own personal channel for just random things.
Yep.
I did put up a brief little preview video of the mini Beryl over there, and again, we'll be following that up with a more detailed video very, very soon. So
yeah, his personal channel is just called Misha, so it's got really good SEO.
Alrighty, guys, we appreciate you tuning in, and we'll catch you soon next time.
See ya.
See ya.